Hello and welcome to my stream. Today I am talking to the mighty of mightiest teapots. Now he is a Guild Wars 2 content creator, best known as a legendary pug raider, the bravest of us all, the master of tea time, his own chat show, and an expert Guild Wars 2 profession guide content creator, as well as always looking rather dapper in his Hugh Hefner inspired day robe. Welcome to the channel, good sir.
Hello. It's great to be here.
So thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed. I want to be able to give my viewers and your viewers, because you have masses of fans in the community, a little bit of insight and a little bit of behind the veil. So if I may, can we start with the first game that you ever played?
The first game that I ever played was, well, I played it when I played it when I was a little over 3 years old, more like 3.5 years old, and that was actually a real-time strategy game from the Command & Conquer series called Red Alert 2.
Oh, wow.
It's one of my favorite games of all time to this day, and in my opinion, probably one of the greatest games ever conceived by man. So
how do you feel about what happened at E3 then?
I don't talk about that. So when it comes to Command & Conquer, anything that happened after Command & Conquer 3, I view as pretty much awful. And I guess I'm a little tolerant on that. A lot of people really dislike Command & Conquer 3. Actually, I actually thought it was pretty good. But yeah, trust me, okay. Red Alert 3 was bad enough. The game was an abomination. All right, okay. It crushed my childhood before my eyes. All right. But yeah, I've always been a massive fan of the CNC, and like, at E3, oh my goodness, like a mobile game? Are you kidding me? Like calling that a real-time strategy game it's grave dancing, okay, on the entire genre. Okay? It's unacceptable. So unacceptable.
So they've already crushed your soul. They can do no more harm to you.
Yeah. It doesn't bother me nearly as much as Red Alert 3 did, rather, put it like that. I just don't even care anymore. I have my old games, and I still enjoy them, and they're still beautiful. All right, I have no expectations anymore. So yeah, that's probably why I was expecting it to be awful, right? And it was just this like diseased creature, so it's not really it doesn't really upset me, the E3 thing. But you know, if that had happened a while ago, maybe it would have done. And I'm not going to be a snob to mobile games, because actually they released a pretty good Red Alert game for the iPhone. I don't think you can still. I don't think they really updated it though. It was for quite the early days of iOS. Actually, it was for a relatively early model of the iPhone. It was actually a pretty good attempt, actually. So it's not just because it's a mobile game. It's actually just it looks rubbish, honestly. Like the gameplay looks just not good, which is the reason why I don't like it. But that's all I've got to say about that. Like, we should maybe dodge CNC. I can talk about CNC all day, all night, and forever. So.
Well, what I wanted to ask you was, like, we all play games. We've all kind of had our own personal evolution of the games that have brought us to what we love now and what we hate now. So what are the seminal games for you?
Oh, okay. So that's got to be, wow. Okay, that's an interesting one. So in terms of the MMO genre, I started playing RuneScape. Okay, I started playing RuneScape.
It's old school, baby.
Okay, yeah. So my journey was actually RuneScape. Okay, then it was Guild Wars 1. Okay, so Guild Wars 1. Oh yeah, this is pretty good. Then I played World of Warcraft a bit. Then I started playing both at the same time. And then that's basically it. Here we are today when it comes to MMOs. When it's real-time strategy, though, I came across a YouTube channel, and this is when I was quite young, and this YouTube channel was Total Biscuit's YouTube channel, of course. And he was very much into a game called StarCraft 2. And I thought, what is this game? It's awesome, another Blizzard game.
Awesome game.
Blizzard game, of course. Real-time strategy again. I thought, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. I saw this thing called esports, right? With these amazing players are competing, and they're clicking buttons at like 300 a minute. So, oh my god, right? So that was kind of, that was when I was like, wow, okay, gaming, yes. Okay, so yeah, that sort of era, okay, when I was playing a lot of World of Warcraft, playing a lot of Guild Wars 1 was, that was the good stuff. Those are the ones that kind of cemented me. But I would say, I'd be tempted to say like StarCraft 2 was what I really became dedicated to. When I was in my teens, okay, so the middle teens is when I was playing a lot of StarCraft 2. I would play a lot of StarCraft 2. I would really watch a lot of StarCraft 2. I was always paying attention. I would know, what was going on, like who's winning, who's good, right? That sort of thing. That was when I entered the kind of gaming community, as it were. I wasn't particularly involved in MMOs. Actually, this is something that surprises people about me. Actually, I wasn't really involved in MMOs that much. I played them very casually up until raid release, actually. In Guild Wars 2. I played Guild Wars 2 very casually for the first entire game until Heart of Thorns came out, which is when I actually started to take it a little bit more seriously and actually put some more time in it. So I was more of an RTS guy up until I kind of got properly into the Guild Wars 2 scene.
Mm. And is there any kind of like completely oddball game that you've kind of fallen in love with along the road? Something that's completely out of the ballpark?
Oh, okay. No, I know the perfect example of this, actually, and there is a browser game, okay, that I still play to this day. A very, very old, well, fairly old browser game, and it's called the Kingdom of Loathing. Okay, and this is a text-based, turn-based game that is it's a hand-drawn game. Okay. And it's got puzzles in it, and you go on quests, but it's kind of set in a very kind of off the wall, like, silly. Well, no, I wouldn't say silly, but it's kind of like a satire of the classic RPG genre, right? You play as a pastamancer, right, or a sorcerer, spelt as in a sauce, right, or a disco bandit, or a seal clubber, that sort of thing. It's a little bit of satire, a bit of comedy, and I suppose that's probably a fairly off the wall game that I still actively play, for sure.
It's a little bit Lord of the Rings, is it?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just a little bit funny. That's an odd game that I still very much enjoy. I would absolutely recommend it. If you're looking for something just to kind of put kind of half an hour. It's a very low time investment game. Right? The thing is, it's actually really funny. You can play this game at an extremely hardcore level as well, which sounds a little odd, but it's actually true. But yeah, it's a really great game, and if you can kind of get into it and you read all the little, there's a lot of jokes in it, right? So many in references and so many pop culture references. It's absolutely insane how much work has gone into concocting all these these little memes inside this game. So that's the off the wall game that I play, for sure. It's the Kingdom of Loathing.
Links are below. Okay. So, that sounds quite D&D-ish. Did you ever do the D&D?
No, I've never really. Well, when it comes to the tabletop kind of thing, I played Warhammer a little bit in my youth. I still have some of those pieces. They really are beautiful. But no, I've never played D&D. Well, that's not strictly true. I actually did like half. Some old friends at school, I did play it. A little bit, but we never really finished it, honestly. We never really got that far.
So you started off with the real-time strategy. You moved on to the Guild Wars 2 and World of Warcraft. I did exactly the same thing. I was playing Guild Wars and World of Warcraft at the same time, so I completely get you there. What pushed you from being on the gamer side, the keyboard side of it, and being a geeky, nerdy gamer? What pushed you out into thinking, God, I want to get into content creation. I want to put my shit out there.
That's an interesting question. To be truthfully told, I'm not actually sure myself. It was just something I wanted to have a go at. I've always liked to kind of mess around and play with this stuff. There's I guess could potentially go a very long way back on this, actually. I've always liked kind of making things. Like, making things is something that I like doing. And that goes back to, oh my goodness, I'm going to get roasted in the comments for this one, boys, okay? But another game I used to play, okay, and I used to play a lot of Roblox, actually, and this is actually how I got into programming as a child. You could make your own game. You could make your own game out of like virtual Legos. Okay, and I like to make things, and then I started playing other things. Like, well, I can't make things for this game, but maybe I can make some videos. I can make some cool videos. And yeah, that's the thing. I just like having something intricate to work on. And it was kind of just a generic thing, really. I just wanted something wanted to make something. I used to make all sorts of things, just random junk, basically. I have a lot of junk that I just worked on for the sake of working on it. And then the Guild Wars one, like someone actually watched it, right? A guy called Rengaru posted it to the Guild Wars 2 subreddit, and this is very embarrassing. I didn't even know what Reddit was at the time, actually. So what is this, right? I went to the Guild Wars 2 subreddit, and I was like looking for it. I was like, where is it? And it was actually the top post at the time. And yeah, that was kind of when I was like, maybe I'll do some more Guild Wars 2 stuff. Like, these guys seem to like it. And that's, I don't know. I've always liked making things, and videos are things.
They are.
Yes.
Bona fide things that take a lot of time. Like, a lot. That's my dog snoring, by the way. Sorry. You do both. You make content for YouTube. And you are a bona fide Twitch streamer, like properly Twitch streamer. Which is the hardest?
Which is the hardest? I think I'd have to say YouTube there, actually.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Certainly, for me, I would say YouTube. There's a big tendency when you make this sort of thing, right, to agonize over every detail in YouTube. Whereas Twitch, you can just kind of go and do it, and it's just it's you, and you just talk, you just interact with people, right? And that's something I'd like to think I'm pretty good at. I feel very comfortable doing that. I can just talk to people. I can just have fun. I do some memes, like try and crack a few jokes, right? And be relatively entertaining and play the game with friends, right? And it's good. It's good. I think that's I don't know. It feels natural. It feels easy peasy. Okay. It's not without its struggles, right? I'm not going to say, streaming is so easy, guys. And let's not be silly here. It's certainly YouTube for me is harder. I think it's very difficult for me to get it right to how I like it, right? I mean, a lot of people know me on YouTube probably from the Minstrel Chrono video. Like the amount of time I spent almost min-maxing the video over completely pointless stuff that no one's ever going to care about is probably more than I'd care to admit. And that is, I don't know, I feel like I'm unable to stop myself from doing that. So that's why I would say YouTube is harder. It's more of a precision game, whereas Twitch is more fluid, and it's very dynamic. YouTube is the exact opposite. It's about perfect execution. Okay? And if you see something you don't like, you can't just leave it there, can you? So that's why I think, I'd say YouTube's harder.
You do a lot of raid streaming. How is that? Because pugging is really, it's still very controversial. People still trying to feel like they're bouncing off the windshield, trying to get into pugging. And you seem very fluid. You seem very relaxed. How do you do it? What advice would you give to nabs trying to get into it?
For people trying to pug, or just raids in general?
Well, I mean, because I think everyone starts off, especially if they're coming over from somewhere like WoW, where pugging is the norm. You pug until you get a guild, and then you raid with the guild as well. So when people come into Guild Wars 2, it's a strange experience because there's a lot of barriers up for pugging, or they feel like there are. But someone like you seems to have been able to just smash them down, even with the most freshly minted characters. Yeah.
Well, on the series that I did, I was playing on a pretty bad build, right? I was playing Power Reaper with no insights or anything like that. And it is true that sometimes people did recognize this, and not all of it was legit. And sometimes I feel like, it's you, isn't it? Right? But a lot of the time, actually, I managed to get away with it. And it's because I went in at the appropriate angle right? Because a lot of people, when they come into raids, they feel like, oh yes, I don't want to join these noob groups, right? This 20 Li or no this training group, right? Well, too bad. Like this is how it goes. Like if you have no legendary insights or no kill proof, then a really good group has like no real. They don't know how good you are. They don't know you're a god, right? So like you can't just skip all the training, right? Just because you think you're amazing. So the reason I was successful is because I got into groups that are realistic for my account's position. Right, and you can scream and shout and say that's silly, right? Like, and to be fair, it kind of is, right? Insights don't mean skill. Kill proof doesn't mean skill. But that's kind of that's the best we've got to a certain extent, right? And it's less risk. It's all about minimizing risk for the squad leader, right? If the squad leader has a choice between me on Power Reaper, okay, with 3 insights, versus big, Elementalist main, 300 insights, right? Which one of those is a safer bet? Like the safer bet is the Elementalist, even though it's entirely possible I'd actually be the better choice, right? Like, there's a pretty good chance of that as well. Like the guy might suck, but you have to be realistic about the way you approach groups is the way I would say it. And also make sure you have a good build. It is true that people are going to be much more accepting of a class that is considered meta than one that is not. Right, and quite rightly so, to be fair. Like, you want to be as effective as you can. That doesn't mean you can't do it on these classes. You go ahead, especially if you're with friends, right? If you're with friends, like, this in my opinion is the best way to play. I would not recommend pugging in any game. Play with your lads, play with the crew, join a guild. Is the advice that I would give on that. But yeah,
you got to pay your dues. Basically, you got to start at the bottom. Yeah. So, how hard is it? I mean, I do Twitch streaming like once a week. I do guild missions. It's basically just nonsense. But you are raiding and you're communicating with chat. That seems really a big juggling act. How much do your mods help you? Is it just you like freewheeling it?
The mods in my channel, well, the sword doesn't mean that they are the defenders of the realm. They're typically the biggest trolls in the realm. So, when they ban someone, it's probably because, I don't know, they want to for fun. No, I'm kidding. All right, that's not true. They're very nice and they do help me. But I'm gonna be real here, okay? I've done the raid so many times that at this point, doing the raid content is pretty much just an excuse just to hang out with the crew and have some fun and have some silly jokes, right? And maybe try something funny, right? I mean, we do stuff like we beat bosses with 10 healers, right? That sort of thing. That's actually pretty difficult, right? I mean, one of my favorite things I've ever done is absolutely without question. We did Veil Guardian with 10 healing tempests. Not particularly difficult, I have to say, but oh man, that was one of my favorite things to do actually. And we've done several bosses with 10 healing tempests, and it was so intense. It was really intense because below 33%, basically, if one of us died, like we would just wipe. And in fact, there was oh my goodness, like the try before we got it, we'd been at it for an hour and then we wiped at about 0.5% HP. It was soul crushing. Okay. When it comes to chat interaction, it is a bit difficult, and sometimes I die because I'm like, what were you guys saying? What's going on here? Right. So yeah, there is that. There is a component of it is a bit of a balancing act. You kind of get used to it, and I know what parts in the fight that I can kind of ignore what's going on. It's nothing important's going to happen probably, right? And I don't know, makes it interesting. I sometimes find myself in a terrible situation. I have to adapt.
Well, I mean, I can say honestly, your audience, they love you. They really do. They're really committed to you. They're really committed to the shows that you do. How long did it take you to build up such a great rapport and such a following with the community?
So on Twitch, I have been partnered for nearly 2 years.
Oh, congratulations, sir.
Thank you. And I had been streaming. I started streaming a lot when the raids came out. Right? Before that, I streamed Tea Time and Mystic Gods. That was it. I just did some YouTube in between. I was a little more busy back then, as you can imagine, with the real life. and so on.
What's that?
So,
it's not real anymore.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I meant that. Well, it was mostly school at the time, right? I was getting that education. Ugh. Yeah. Right? I got no time to play games. You kidding me? It's unbelievable. But but yeah, I guess it's taken probably just 2.5 years since I probably really started streaming. About 2.5 years, yeah, is when I started streaming a lot. I think I haven't been streaming every day for that long. I think it's been probably about a little over 2 years, because I streamed like 3 or 4 times a week when raids came out. Then eventually I started going, okay, let's go every day. Sure, why not? I've got no life. Let's go.
What would now? I mean, a lot of people, a lot of new streamers will look at you with envy in their eyes. The kind of the status that you have in our little fish pond. I mean, Guild Wars 2 is a small pond, really. What advice do you wish some streamer had said to you before you actually started?
What advice would I have wanted myself? Oh man, now that is an interesting one. Definitely don't give up. Right, is good advice in my opinion. Don't give up. You can do basically anything you want. That's what I half ironically tell my chat. Everyone can raid, guys. Everyone. The other great piece of advice is absolutely do not try to emulate someone. Right? Be you. Sell yourself. Okay? Don't try and role play as someone else. Okay? That's not what you want to do. You want to have your own unique spice. Okay? You want to create yourself. Right? And if that's a character, that's fine. You can play a character. There's plenty of role player streamers. That's good. But don't give up. Get some good quality going. Don't stream in a really high bit rate before you get quality options. Otherwise, no one can watch you. The internet, it's just not going to cut it, right? You're going to have no viewers. You're going to be sad. Yeah, that's kind of the best general advice I can give. I think broad advice is typically, broad advice is not as useful as maybe people want to think it is, right? Like there's no cure-all for this sort of thing. Like everyone is their own unique recipe, in my opinion. Like the best way is to discover it for yourself. Everything is going to be different. Everyone's journey is going to be very, very different when it comes to content creation. And the same thing that would work for me, or has worked for me, right? Like, I'm sure you could, here he did this and he does this a lot on his stream, right? That might not work for someone else, right? And the same for you, right? Like so you maybe other people just don't have the vocal quality, okay, to carry off these interviews, right? All those lore videos. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things there that are not applicable to everybody. So I would say the best piece of advice is, don't chase after people. Forge your own path.
I agree. Also, I don't do high energy because I'm not a high energy human being. I'm barely conscious, so this is just my natural state. Which, if you can get away with that, that's great. Can I ask you a few questions about your Guild Wars 2 gameplay history, please? If that's all right with you.
Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay, so you did play the original campaigns. What, in your opinion, and we'll divide chat, what in your opinion was the best campaign from the original ones?
From the original game? Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, I'm going to say Prophecies, the original.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think I'd probably say Prophecies. Prophecies, or I really enjoyed Eye of the North as well. Very much so. So, yeah, I would say Prophecies and Eye of the North, very close. Very close.
What was it about Prophecies? I mean, was it like the Jurassic Park syndrome? It was the first, so it was the best.
There is that, but I also consider it to be very well paced as well. A really big thing for me is the pacing. I also, the story I find the most, I'd probably say I find the story the most enjoyable. I'd say it's a really epic tale, right? It's a little cheesy, right? It's a bit of that ArenaNet cheese, but actually, I'll tell you what, I love it, right? I love it. That was what it was. Great. It was just great. It's kind of funny. It's a little bit slanted at exactly the right times, and you've got evil. You've got the undead. You have this evil cult, right? You've got magic. You've got liches. You got everything. What else do you need? You got it all in there. You got dwarves. You go through the Shiver Peaks, and I love the Shiver Peaks, guys. Okay, I love the snowy themes in Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2. Okay, so yeah, prophecies. Boom.
Okay. I loved it. I loved pre-searing. I mean, I've still got characters in pre-searing just because I love the area and I love the feel of it. It's so autumnal, kind of like a dream sequence.
Absolutely. That's another massive component I did miss. Like that kind of translation between the starting area and the next area was always something that really struck me as unique, actually, about the way Guild Wars 1 played out. All right. It was really something special, I have to say.
I think it's brave. It's bloody brave to kind of have this kind of beautiful, idyllic, like utopian setting, and then just smash the damn thing to pieces.
Smash into pieces.
Yeah. So, what was your first character that you played in the original campaign? What profession?
Played an elementalist. There you go.
That was it? Okay.
Yeah, okay. I played an elementalist. That's what he was. I was very excited. Okay, because when you finish Nolani Academy, the mission, okay, and you end up in Yak's Bend, okay, you don't just get Flare anymore. Flare is a trash spell, guys. You get Fireball, okay? And that was very exciting, okay? Very exciting, it has actually the same animation, but it was an area of effect Fireball spell. And then you get Meteor and Meteor Shout. And that was yes, okay? Very much a big yes. Yeah. Elementalist, he was an elementalist mesmer to begin with, actually. That's what he was. Yes. He would drain the energy and cast fire upon his foes. Boom.
I always remember that the teacher for the elementalist skills was deaf, because she deafened herself with all the bombardments that she'd done. That's that kind of little attention to detail that I think is almost missing a little bit in the like the broad strokes of the new game. Like all the little in-game descriptions of all the towns and that kind of thing have kind of been washed away, and I'm kind of sad about that in some ways.
Yeah, the original game had a lot of almost sort of humorous little details in there, and one of the things I do miss is that there were a lot of pop culture references in the original Guild Wars 1. I feel we don't get that as much. There absolutely are some. But there's a lot of secrets, you know. But it's kind of inherent to the design. The design of Guild Wars 1 facilitated that a little bit more, whereas Guild Wars 2, it's more difficult to execute that sort of thing, I think, in this game. Although it certainly is possible, and we do see it, right? We do see it. But yeah, there is... I would view Guild Wars 2 as an incredibly detailed game, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I would tend to agree that some of the flavor has been lost to a certain extent. Yeah, I would think that's fair.
So, what would you? Obviously, you have a great deal of passion for both the games. So, what would you have liked to have seen brought forward? What elements of the original campaigns would you have liked to have seen more brought forward into the new game?
Definitely dual professions. That lacking in Guild Wars 2 was kind of well, that's a bit sad, isn't it? And on top of that, definitely hard mode. There's some component of the difficulty has always been a little lacking, and what we've seen of hard mode in Guild Wars 2 has been executed phenomenally, in my opinion. Fractal challenge modes, amazing stuff, and challenge modes and raids, again, excellent. So that. Almost like the audience switch. They've kind of moved away from the slightly more hardcore demographic and to a more casual audience. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. That is something that I certainly miss from the original Guild Wars 1. Like some of the stuff in the original Guild Wars 1, you are going to get splattered, right, guys? Okay, you will get obliterated. Okay, even in normal mode. Now, some of the what we would now know as living story in Guild Wars 1, called Winds of Change, is actually pretty difficult, even on normal mode. And on hard mode, you will be in for a bad time unless you're ready to abuse the hell out of some really, really OP stuff. But yeah, I do miss dual classing, which is really cool. I thought it was really cool. Oh my god! As a child, I was like, wait, what? I can be an elementalist and I can be the purple guy? Oh my god! It's insane! It's amazing. Yeah, that sort of thing. But yeah, other than that, I think everything else is kind of translated over pretty damn well. The skill system is, well, the dual classing thing is very all-encompassing for me. I really loved the skill design of Guild Wars 1 and the simplification of that system to make it easier to handle. I think it was a big balance decision. I don't know, you have to ask ArenaNet, but I think the decision to remove dual classing and the way the skill system worked with a huge array of skills, right? To the point when there are even duplicates, was a decision based on balancing. I think it made it very funky, but that's probably what I miss, like that kind of having that massive spell book, and you can combine them, you can mix and match with whatever you want. I think was a really amazing design feature of Guild Wars 1 that sadly didn't translate over to Guild Wars 2, probably because it might have been a complete clown fiesta. In fact, it almost certainly would have been. The more modern style of the way Guild Wars 2 would have probably made it way worse to handle, right? Like the way the combat is much faster paced and more mobile would have maybe been a bit tricky to pull off when you have some insanely OP combos rolling around as well. But I don't know. Leave your comments below. See, what do you think?
Yeah, exactly. How do you feel about the loss of the Trinity, though? I mean, because it's a big step, and they're kind of almost backtracking on that now.
The loss of the Trinity, it's maybe not so good for players from other MMOs because they're kind of wait, what? How does this work again? What's going on here? And it's not exactly intuitive that the main tank in the game, I suppose, is also a buffer, right? With the Chronomancer, with the Mesmer. But I actually really like it. I think the idea that every class can vaguely do everything, except like, I don't know, heal thief. That's not going to go so well.
Don't give them any ideas.
Yeah, I really like it. No, I really like it, actually. I do. I enjoy it a lot. Very good.
Okay.
I think the Trinity is unnecessary, and the way Guild Wars 2 executes its class roles into, I suppose you could say, you can be a support or a damage dealer. I don't mind it, or even a hybrid. Like the fact that hybrids can exist makes me happy. They're a little niche and oftentimes not that great, but the fact that hybrid builds can exist is, in my opinion, very good, and it speaks to the way the balancing and the design of the classes is. I would say it's very good. The class design and combat mechanics are Guild Wars 2's absolute strengths. They are executed to a degree that we don't see in any other MMO, in my opinion.
I guess it's a party trick in many ways, but I mean, I've played a lot of MMOs, a lot. I don't think you'd probably be able to name one that I haven't played. And the new mount system that they introduced with Path of Fire is one of the most brilliant integrated mount systems. It's not a taxi, they're an integrated part of the environment, and I haven't seen it done as well in any other game. I was wondering what you thought, because there's been a lot of controversy because a lot of people did not want mounts. What was your take on it?
So mounts in an MMO have never been particularly important to me. It's kind of, well, use them to get around, right? Get to A to B. Right? Same, when mounts, I'm on record on some tea time saying that I don't think we're going to get mounts. Right? I've said that, and I really didn't. I thought, I'm not going to do mounts. It's a bit weird. We've already got waypoints. But we got mounts, and it just really goes to show what a bunch of talented developers are in that have when they actually manage to connect, right? Because the devs always get flamed, right? Like, the devs are useless. The devs don't know what they're doing, right? Stuff like mounts really shows you the flashes of brilliance that sometimes emanate from ArenaNet, right? The way these are executed, the way they interact with the maps, and how they work with the old maps as well, right? It is just amazing, right? And it's really incredible. Right? The way they handle, the way they look, the animations, how fluid they control, how real it feels. It just shows you how good at making things ArenaNet really are, right? And this is something that I always encourage people to remember, right? ArenaNet might take a little while to do stuff, especially for your favorite game mode, because everyone kind of has to wait their turn to a certain extent, right? But remember what it was like when you first played it, right? I remember what Wing 1 felt playing like for the first time. I was like, wow, this is amazing, right? Veil Guardian, like for the first time, was so cool. It was so awesome. It was so much fun. And mounts are the same. Like, yeah, they're not a defining feature for Path of Fire for me, I suppose. It was fun. I really enjoyed doing the Griffin collection, for example. That's great. I love it. And yeah, they are kind of fun to go around on. But even as someone who's not particularly into it, I can appreciate for how well they were executed, right? And no I don't know. I don't know an MMO. Right? I wouldn't say there's no MMO, right? Because someone go, oh, in this MMO the mounts are better. Yeah, okay, right. Come on, yeah, whatever, buddy. I've never seen mounts executed as well as this. In an MMO, and that's honestly how I feel about a lot of the systems for Guild Wars 2. Really, it's a shame that there's obviously not enough resources to develop this game more, in my opinion. If I could, if I could give an army of developers, endless developers, I really would, because I think that this game has the mechanics to basically be like the MMO. In my opinion, it is the MMO, but I think the lack of resources does hold it back to a certain extent, and the mounts are kind of
Star Citizen crowdfunding for it.
Well, yeah, that will be useful. I mean, that will be pretty good, yeah. The mounts are an example of that. Like, we see what they're capable of. In my opinion, like, in mounts, you see the true ArenaNet, right? What they're actually capable of, which is greatness.
So the devs are creating, they're fixing World v World, finally. They're meant to be fixing World v World, finally. What are your thoughts? Because you have really pushed World v World. You've had a guild, you've done lots of raiding, you did it to death to the point where I think you were, trying to wipe your face off on your own keyboard. What do you want to see with the World v World?
So, alliances are an interesting one. World versus World. Well, I think World vs. World should almost be the main focus for Guild Wars 2. I think it's the game mode in which it stands out from its competition best, probably. I think the Realm versus Realm large-scale combat in Guild Wars 2 is probably the best on the market, and I also think it's very good for the kind of players that Guild Wars 2 want to appeal to. I think it can be played very casually, right? You can just hop on, have a bit of fun, right? Play around, be in an epic fight, and then you can just leave. Right? I would think that it's a good for that, but there is also that hardcore component where you have people really try-harding, doing GVG, etc., etc. I think it's the ideal game mode almost for what Guild Wars 2 wants to achieve when it comes to its target market. And what I would love to see is to try it really properly advertised, really shill, right? Like, look at what we've got. This is what Guild Wars 2 has. I bet, did you know we have Realm versus Realm combat? Well, you do now. I think ArenaNet should really go for this, and when they do the relaunch for alliances, just lay it down and say, yeah, let's go, World versus World, get in on this action. Try and maybe improve the induction system, and this is a really difficult thing. When you're a new player, you hop into World versus World. The only way you're really going to figure out what the hell is going on, you're going to have to talk to people. Right, you're going to have to ask, because it is almost a player-defined game mode, player-defined strategies, player-defined meta, right? It's very fluid. It's always changing. Well, maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but there's constant different little variations, little micro variations in how people play the game, and each commander will play it different, right? There'll be slight differences in how each leader will play it, so it's very difficult to do that. And
the sanity of each commander.
Oh yes, that just runs out very quickly. Yeah, very, very quickly. The induction system there needs to be some kind of way to get people into it. If that's looking for guild tool, if that's some kind of proper tutorial with the basics talking that uses terms like zerging or roaming, that sort of thing, like explaining the game a little bit better, or a way to have players do that to you, right, through the guilds or something like that. And I would just say really heavy marketing. I really think that, again, I don't work at ArenaNet, so I don't have the numbers, but I genuinely think that the World versus World could be the game mode for Guild Wars 2. And I think, it probably always should have been, actually. It kind of was, right? When they were launching Guild Wars, it was like, whoa, World versus World, right? But then it didn't get developed sufficiently, right? It was left to flounder for too long, right?
It's also surprising because it's the closest to what the game is called. guild
Yes.
was. You could literally have it guild versus guild, and I think it's the best of all worlds. So you have that collective experience, you have that raid experience, you have a PvE experience where you're taking keeps, but you also have the PvP experience where you're playing against other players, but it's not so crushingly intense as a 5v5 combat situation. So it's a bit more forgiving as well.
Exactly. Yeah, that was what I was alluding to earlier on, where it's better for the casual player base as well. It's where your responsibility is not so high, right?
Yeah.
Your relative contribution. To be fair, you can contribute a lot. There's always going to be, I know, you're that mesmer who did the sick portal, right? Or you're the warrior who landed the dank bubble and then one-shot a bunch of people. Or you're always there on your necro, always doing mass damage, always giving mass stability on your guardian, that sort of thing. And you can do a lot. Like, even one player can really make a difference. But on the other hand, if you're just trying to have a little bit of fun, you can contribute, right, without having to, be a god, right? You don't have to be this rotational mastermind or 1v1 machine to play world versus world, and that's the beauty of it. Well, one of the aspects of this beauty is that.
I love the Havoc group, so I get a bit bored. It's a bit too kind of formulaic for me, running around just following the tag. So I like to do Havoc, and that's a nice small group where you just go and you knock things over and you knock on doors and you disturb the kind of the mentality of the people whose world you're attacking. And I like that kind of, and I've always been disappointed that they haven't shown it as much love. So I'm genuinely hoping that they actually follow through and give us the Wolvie world that we should have had when the game launched. Yeah.
And a big part of that is going to be implementing some systems that are very important, I think, to kind of stick on this a little bit more. There needs to be a reward system that's better, and a reason for winning. And I would say bringing back seasons, some kind of leaderboard, give you something for winning the skirmish, like reward guilds for doing well is very important. And that goes for both types of world versus world. That's the capturing, the PPT, and also the killing, right? You got killing, right? Killing, capping, both got to be rewarding. Both, and defending as well. Like there's a lot of stuff in world versus world that is catastrophically unrewarding, right?
Yes.
If you take a tier 3 keep, you take it down. It's taking you 3 hours to do it. You get it 1 champ bag. Thanks, ain't it? No. Okay. And it's kind of someone's going to say in the comments, they're going to abuse it. They're going to start farming each other. Well, you know what? Why punish everyone for the sake of a few assholes? Right? I don't even think it would be that common. Like, as soon as you attach guild pride, you try and get guild pride. I don't know. I kind of feel like there'll be a minimum of win trading. And hey, you don't have to make the rewards amazing, right? You don't have to make them as good as Istan, right? Just throw the world versus world as a bone, and give us some rewards for doing well, right? I think that's what's lacking, and probably again, like, the rewards in general need to be retuned. But that is honestly a topic for, I don't know, at least a 5-hour-long tea time. Like that's a serious topic to talk about. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be dealt with on the rewards front. Like, I don't think you get enough, especially for doing stuff that is very important, right? And that's typically attacking and defending. The most rewarding way to play World vs. World is basically like to mash into each other endlessly, right? And that's not actually playing the game mode. So they need to make playing the game mode more rewarding, right? While maintaining some rewards in terms of the normal like fighting stuff. Like, you don't want people just camping siege, right? It's a very difficult thing to do. This is an extremely hard game mode to balance, right? Let it not be said that it's easy. I'm not saying this is easy. This is incredibly hard. The more sandboxy a game mode, the harder it is to tweak it and make it balanced. And that's why Arena have one hell of a job ahead of them.
Yeah.
Don't screw it up.
So if I made you a game god for a day and you could get to reshape the environment of all the game modes that you want, what would be the main things that you would change? What would Teapot's version of Guild Wars 2 look like?
Ooh, okay, let's go. So let's do PvP. We add more maps and we clone the player base about 5 times so they've got some proper population. And that'll do. Oh yeah, get rid of the hackers and the win traders. Yeah, but that's not too bad actually. We kind of got them. But yeah, so PvP, easy. That's the easy peasy, right? Simple. Let's see. For PvE, just add loads of hard modes and actually add stuff to it. Okay, like 9 months since last raiding, by the way. Okay, give me those hard modes. Hook me up. That's basically all it needs. Fractals as well. Let's go. Hard modes. Boom. Every fractal. And dungeons. Who knows? Maybe bring them back. But maybe I'm a benevolent god and I decide to humor some of the old dungeon fans. But yeah, I think the overall, game's pretty good. Probably tweak some of the balance as well. Add some more meme builds. Okay, more meme builds. And then for World vs. World, I think we kind of just covered that in the previous question. Yeah, just rewards. I'll address the balance stuff in just after this a little bit, I guess. But yeah, I'd just fix the rewards, make alliances good, probably increase the player base as well. And we need a few more clones, okay? So yeah, and also shill. Another big thing I would do if I was a ReadNet game god, shill really hard. Shill the fact that we have raids, that we have endgame, big endgame. Talk about PvP, how you can get a skull over your head for winning the monthly tournament, right? That sort of thing. Boom, competitive. Whoa! Look, we've got all this cool endgame, right? The Guild Wars 2 isn't just about Joko doing a funny dance, right? I mean, that's great. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. I really loved the latest episode, okay? But we've got other stuff to offer. People don't know about raids. Like we have these guys, Peon, Envy, coming into the game. They didn't know anything about raids. They thought that raids were like a giant meme, right? That they were kind of a joke. That's just not the case. Guild Wars 2 is a very serious endgame that just doesn't get appreciated. So yeah, I talk to those marketing guys. And yeah, the other thing is that the balance needs to happen a lot more. Stuff like Scourge, the design with Scourge has been a problem for ages. I'd say stuff like warrior bubbles in World vs. World have been a problem for ages. Stuff like Chrono in PvE has been a problem for ages, but I would say that's mostly because the other stuff kind of sucks that tries to do the same thing. But that's not true. Don't listen to that, guys. Firebrand Renegade is actually really great. Played it on stream the other day. It was really good, actually. So don't listen too carefully, all right? Okay, but the other stuff just isn't. It's not quite there, if you know what I mean. It's not quite there. There's lacking, and there's only one option. There should be more options, in my opinion. So I'd really kind of flesh out the balance, get some more options for making everything good, and not everything good, but more things good that can do the same thing and have some bit of variation, bit of spice in my life. Like different ways of doing things. And then there's a numerous other there's some balance concerns that could be addressed elsewhere, but I don't know. Like I'd just make the balance more frequent. Is probably the best way I would say. I do think they're going in a good direction, but I think balancing needs to happen more often, and there need to be more micro adjustments to it as well. And I think, is there anything that my hand of game god didn't touch?
You're pretty good, actually. You're pretty good. So we've been talking for maybe an hour now. I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know you must be a really busy guy. So can we talk about what the future of your channel is, and talk a little bit about tea time and shill some of your stuff so that we make sure we show you the proper appreciation and respect for being here.
Oh wow, this is an opportunity to shill?
Please, this is an entire... This is your show, baby.
Oh, guys, let's just break out the Twitch Prime. Let's go. No, never mind. Okay, so, right, well, me then. So, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I stream all the time, okay? Basically every day. Whoa! Oh, my goodness. I do raids. Right now I just mostly do raids. Do a bit of PvP automated tournaments. I'm returning to World vs. World at some point as well, guys. You can't get rid of me. I'm coming back. Okay, but do all sorts of stuff. Like we do commentary about the game. We talk about the game. We discuss the game. Okay, we flame the game. We have big memes, and of course we help people. That's one of the biggest things about the channel. You might not think it, but it really is. We help people get all sorts of things. Like get into raids, like get geared up properly. We talk about composition and strategy and the best way, the easiest way. Like cheese the hell out of everything, easy peasy. We do silly builds. We do meme builds. We do sometimes we do try hunting as well. Like I do a pretty good clear on Monday. All that sort of stuff. Everything raids. Bit of PvP and World vs. World on the side, and of course the dankest memes you'll find on Twitch, and you can find that all at twitch.tv/MightyTeapot. In fact, I'm all at MightyTeapot. Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, boom, boom, boom. Okay, easy. You can get all that stuff. You can get it all. Twitch Prime, like I said. Remember, guys. Okay.
Please subscribe to this lovely chap. You have a lot of people coming on to tea time. It's a bit of a sausage fest. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I love it. It is. But there's nothing wrong with sausage. I mean, I'm a vegetarian, but there's nothing wrong with sausage. So, who would you love to get onto your show?
Who would I love to get onto the show? Ooh, that's an interesting question.
It's from Ada. She's very good at the questions.
Yeah, I don't know actually. I'm gonna say I am a little bit lazy with this. I do need to poke around a bit more and have a look at some other people, because I've had most of the people I know on Tea Time. The people that I associate with that I haven't really had on. I'll tell you what, people like I say someone like Naru or Valen would be really interesting to talk to, but almost everyone that I regularly interact with, I've kind of had on the show. Like even some slightly interesting people, like I've had Kevin on the show, who's well, I mean, he's an interesting type, and even someone who just won my Mystic Builds tournament I had on the show as well.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, exactly. It was actually a bet. Okay, I'll tell you what. Okay, right. I hope he doesn't watch this, but it's because I said that because I thought you would never win. But right. So I'm a bad man. I tell you what, actually, there's one other person who I never really caught, actually, to come on Tea Time. There's two people I never caught who kind of left the game before I did. Okay, and that is Body Doc and Funzy. Do you know Funzy and Body Doc?
No. Sorry.
Yeah. Body Doc is a hilarious guy. I believe he's from. Oh no, I'm not going to guess what country. It's he's got a great accent. I don't want to. I'm not going to be racist, guys. Okay? But he is hilarious. He is amazing. He used to do a lot of RNG videos, like putting stuff in the Mystic Forge, that sort of thing, and salvaging stuff and all that sort of thing. He like money making. He did like gold making guides.
Oh, nice.
Right. That's what I was. He's a really funny guy, really lovely guy, and unfortunately he quit the game before that even happened. And Funzy, well, she just plays other stuff now. No time for Guild Wars 2 anymore, man. Oh, she's got no time for us.
Oh, heartbroken.
Yeah, what a disaster.
Okay, so I have to ask you another question, because if I don't, then Ada will just ride me like a pony around our guild hall. So you wear a robe. You wear your Hugh Hefner robe. She wants to... Do you just enjoy the robe? Is it just a part of you now? It's like a second skin.
I've worn this for a very long time. Well, I've worn a dressing gown for a very long time. It is soft. It is comfortable. Okay. It is nice. I like the color. And that's why I wear it.
Okay. I'm reading her question and I'm slightly concerned for you, because she's wanting to know if you're putting it on eBay. I think she might want to buy it, and I think you might be in trouble, mate.
There is no money. You cannot buy me. This is worth more than money to me. It has a lot of sentimental value.
Okay.
I will be heartbroken when it is no longer wearable. It has a hole in the elbow already. And yeah, I will, even when it is broken, I'll just keep it. It can sit in a corner.
I'll let her know. I'll let her down gently that she cannot have your robe. So there are two questions that I like to ask that to finish off the interview. I was going to ask you about movies and book stuff, but I've kept you long enough and I feel like a bit of an asshole for it. So the first question that I like to ask is, what is your most useless real world talent? So people who tell me that they can lick their elbows and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. What's your most useless real world talent?
Oh my goodness. I'm not sure I have any talents. Oh dear.
Don't believe it for a second.
I might have to pass on that one. I really don't have anything good. I'll tell you what. Secret meme. I was trying to think of one, okay, because I read the questions. I don't know. I don't have anything good. I don't know. I got no memes there. I haven't got any party tricks. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I got
that's
nothing.
so sad. That is so sad.
Yeah.
You can't even solo a banana hole like my husband. I'm very disappointed.
Whoa.
Okay.
Well, do you know what this means? Okay, it means all my talents are useful. Boom.
Say.
You gotta find out the positive and the negative situations. Okay?
Yeah, you've broken that question. Okay, and the last question. We both spend a lot of time in worlds where magic is mundane. But in the real mundane world that we live in, what is the closest thing to magic that you've ever encountered?
Okay, right.
Oh, go on, say love. Go on.
Well, No. I'm afraid it's way better. I'm afraid it's a lot better than love.
Good.
Okay. That's too cliche. We got to do better than that.
We have to.
No.
We have to.
This is the first thing that came to my head when I thought about this. Okay, and it was, okay, it's a ride in Legoland Windsor that doesn't exist anymore. Okay. And as a child, I actually thought that this was actually magic. Okay, probably. I presumed it must have been magic. Okay. Boom. You go into this kind of racetrack area. You're a child. I'm like 2 foot tall. I'm a gnome, right? Okay. Boom. Okay. You create a Lego guy. Okay. There's consoles. Like there's a guy talking to you about how you're going to be a racer. Right? Okay. And then you make your Lego figure. You make your car. Okay. Then you go into the next room where there's actual Lego cars set up. Then it's like a modded hybrid version of Lego Racers 1, and you play Lego Racers 1 on the car that you just created, and you drive it with a wheel and a pedal, dude. And I was like, oh my god, it's the hacking reality. It's impossible, right? So that's magic. Okay, there you go.
Lego.
Yes, Lego is magic.
Okay. That's a pretty good answer. That's like, you've got to pass. You can have a cookie for that. That's well done.
Cookies.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to say in closing as we leave our viewer devastated and confused?
Well, devastated and confused? How are they confused?
I'm going to have to find some sort of picture of this Lego thing, or they're not going to know what you're talking about.
Maybe I didn't explain it very well. They can ask me about it sometime, but I don't know. Yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, crew. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Okay, behind the teapot, behind the bathrobe. Okay, and now you know everything. But yeah,
up the spout.
Subscribe to this channel, and then give us your money. There you go. There's the outro for you. Okay?
Thank you.
We're talking Patreon. We're talking Twitch subs. Okay, Twitter followers. Let's go. Okay, I've nearly got more than Jebro. Hit me with it. Okay. Boom.
Gotta be done.
Exactly. It's got to be done. It's got to happen, right? Okay. He's the last target. Okay. Take him out. Okay. And then everyone else. And then I'm rank 1, and I'm at the top, okay? Those Twitter followers, okay? Then it's wooden potatoes, but that's going to take a while, okay? He's got a lot, and he's a serious threat.
He is.
He's a big boy. He's a big potato, all right?
He is.
So that's going to be a difficult one. But yeah, follow, subscribe, and just watch. It's great content here, great content over there. And check out my boys in the Delusional Elitists as well. Delusional Elitists, best Guild Wars 2 streamers, okay? Simple stuff, raw, okay? Yeah. That's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. Thanks for having me. It was a fun interview. Hopefully my answers aren't too weird, too random.
They're great. There will be links in the description to everything that we talked about, as long as I can find them. Now, if you liked the video and you found it informative, please do like it, click that little button, and share it. That's the best thing you can do for any content creator out there. Share their work, like it. That helps. Now, I want to give a shout out to Jolly Joestar, Valmont, Ada and Ken Schneider, and all my fantastic patrons, without whom I would not be able to dedicate the time, energy, and effort I do to content creation. I cannot thank them enough, and I cannot thank you enough for watching too. So I hope you come back and join me again. But until then, as always, thanks for watching.